The channel. KG is back. Another show coming today. Talking a bit about Javi Gracia, Wilfried Gnonto, and everything in between. Whatever's on your mind, let's talk about it today. As Leeds United find themselves in 19th place, still think it was a good point against Brighton. And the more I think about it, the more I'm very happy with the point on the weekend. It's just that other results around us weren't going our way, but that's going to happen where we are. But as of yet, and as we still talk today, we're still not cut adrift, are we? Please hit a like on the video as you come in, or if you're watching replay, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and of course, drop your comments. Oh, that's another thing as well with the comments. Listen, people, I'm all for people disagreeing and everything else like that, but you've got to keep the comments respectful. That's just a non-negotiable on my channel. I know interaction is the name of the game on YouTube, but I'm no one's cuck. I'm no one's sub. So please, if I'm talking to you respectfully, reply back respectfully. You know, one of them. So yeah, listen, just keep it respectful. I know this is a rough time because I don't think it's me in particular that people are going at. It's more where we are as a club. Um, it's a piece of fluff there. Can't get that, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's just one of those anyway, and it. But yeah, listen, people, we'll keep this rolling. We'll keep it rolling. Bandy here in the house saying, as for Nanto, the kid can do the work. The kid wants to work. We must let the kid work. Yeah, listen, that's it. That's a good one, Bandy. Good words. Just before I get into the bulk of the show, big thanks to John Abbott, Karen Curtin, and John L for super thanks on the last video. Super thanks are there at the end of the video where you can donate on the video if you've missed the live recording. So please do that if you can. And also missed super chats. I missed a couple in the last stream because it was going absolutely mental. Lee Waters, Ruben Signs, and Radaby Leeds. Thank you for the super chats on the live stream in the last one. Nige D saying, afternoon, KG. Talk of a new Harrison contract. Thoughts? I don't think the talk's gone away, has it, Nige? I think it's always going to be there until he's either sold or until he signs. But yeah, listen, for me, I wouldn't give him a new contract. I think it's best that we cut ties with him and a couple of other players in the summer. I know that everyone's going to keep on referring back to the Llorente one where he signed a new deal and then we've got bigger value for him. But that's not going to work every time. You see, more often than not, I think of Phil Jones for Man United. Think of that when they re-signed him. They were hoping to do that. You think of Rob Holding at Arsenal. It happens more often than not where people protect the value of the player and then end up getting stuck with that player for the duration of their contract. And for me, I think it's best if we just start making clean breaks from some of these guys in the summer, because quite clearly it isn't working here. But unless it's going to be a strict, we're going to give you more of a contract, but then we'll still sell you if they know that there's still interested parties. Okay, cool, because we don't know that. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But then yes, I would. But otherwise, nah, let's cut ties in the summer, man. Let's get off him. But I am going to give Jack Harrison a bit of credit today. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah, El Gil, we can't even talk about some of that. That's the thing as well. It's too early. We passed the January transfer window. The summer is so far away, and there's so many things that we just don't know at this point in time. We don't know how the team's going to look come the summer, depending on where we finish. So it is too early. But yeah, for me, in terms of Harrison's contract, no, thank you, no, thank you. CB saying we need to clear out of the deadwood for sure. Yeah, it's a continuing thing. Realistically, CB, they should have been gone by now. That's why I wasn't celebrating when Click went in January, because he shouldn't have been gone 2 years ago. But yes, the continuation of clearing out of the mess and players that are just not good enough has to continue so we can shoot up the table. It all depends on what you want. Listen, there's people that reply back to me, and fair play to them. They say no matter where Leeds play, whether it's League One, League Two, they're going to be there supporting. They're not really there for the trophies or glory like that. And I completely understand that. But for me, I talk from a fan that wants some glory. I want Leeds to go back to the heady heights of being in Europe again. And I'm sure people before me, older people before me, would want Leeds to be challenging for leagues again. That's where I want to be. So I'm definitely in the camp of, I don't care how likable the player is. If they're not good on the pitch, they need to go. X-Ben saying, KG, in my opinion, there's too many people writing us off, say relegate us and that, but we aren't the only ones in the relegation zone and we aren't confirmed down yet. Yeah, it's too early. It's too early, man. It's there's just too many, even with the results on the weekend. Let's take that for instance. Yes, there's a lot of results went against us, but nobody has gone clear of us. Nobody. And all it takes, I say all it takes, because winning seems to be a mountain at the moment, but all it takes is one win against Wolves, more results to be as normal as possible, as normal as possible, and we're out the bottom three. You know what I mean? It's too early for me to say that it's done and dusted, but we'll talk about Javi Gracia and his approach and his lineups in a bit, but it's way too early. There's so many games to go. So many games to go. Gabe here. Shout out to Gabe. Jack Harrison is the Pittsburgh Penguins of Leeds. Moments of managing quality, but breaks your heart in the end. Leeds a Bruins like player. Well, Gabe, I mean, let's not go here, but in my lifetime, let me just say, of my lifetime supporting the Penguins, we have three Stanley Cups. Okay, three. That's three of them, mate. All right. So let's not go there. Let's not go there. But no, listen, Jack Harrison. As I said on the stream last week, he's 26 people. And the way that people talk about this guy is like he's 2021. I refer back to an absolutely wet article I read the other week by the Yorkshire Evening Post about Jack Harrison. They spoke about him like he's a developing kid, and he's not. He's 26. He should be in his pump. And this is me talking. Listen, 2 years ago, I said when Jack Harrison signed permanently, I can see this guy getting like 10 goals, 10, 15 assists, because I think his ceiling is that high. I do. I did. I genuinely believe that he has that in his locker, but his game hasn't progressed and he's getting older. You know what I mean? It's one of those there where you just like, is this going to be another Lingard kind of situation where Lingard's approaching 30 and we're still saying, oh, he's got potential? It's like at some point, you just have to realize it's not going to work out in full at the club he's at. Uh, I mean, Michael Brown. So, KG, what you're saying is if Leeds get relegated, you'll lose interest in the team. You will be, you will only be interested in the team if they stay in the Premier League. I mean, see, this is another thing as well. Comments like this. I mean, I don't know what it is, what people hear when I'm talking, but I'm pretty clear when I talk. You can understand what I'm saying. Like, when have I ever said that I won't be interested if we're not in the Prem? Of course, the games aren't as interesting when you're not in the Prem, though. Who cares about going to Luton Town on a Tuesday night? No one cares about that, Michael. What are we talking about here? You look forward to the games. All the work that went into the championship and coming up is to be in the Prem. Now, it's not our fault as fans that we haven't done the right things off the pitch to make sure that we're ascending the Premier League table and not fighting relegation again. You know what I mean? But I don't know where you've got that from. But that's another thing I'm sick of in this kind of era that we're in. Because Leeds are so bad, everyone wants to misconstrue what you're saying or twist your words. Again, that can't happen on my platform as well. Old Git, always love that name, Old Git. Think the new contract is good at things to protect your assets. Might not be for us, but will be for another team. You can't give him away. No, and that's what I'm saying, Old Git. That's why I said in January it was perfect to sell him to Leicester. I repeat again, it's not strengthening your rivals by selling someone like Jack Harrison. It's strengthening if you're selling them a Tyler Adams or someone like that. It's not strengthening by giving them a Jack Harrison. I'm sorry. And we should have taken that money. They should have completed the deal. Brendan was there. Brendan was there with Jack. They were all. It was all ready to go, and we pulled the plug at the last minute. We shouldn't have done that because now look what we've done. Sentimental FC. He's now started every single game, and up until this weekend, he'd done zero, done absolutely nothing. But he's staying in the team. I don't know, man. Richard Cage, people don't listen to. Yeah, I know, Richard. It's like comments as well that I get afterwards where I know I've explained myself very clearly because I know people love full context and people still try and say that I said something else. But I read my comments. So if you're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to be reading yours or in the future. It's one of those. I only want people that can communicate properly. I'd like to build a good community here, but it's got to be a sensible one. You know what I mean? I can't deal with all that stuff. My BS tolerance is very, very short. I will say that. Glenn saying here, KG talks about himself as though he's still a kid. After the own goal, he said something like, I just need to learn from that. Learn really. Wow. No, yeah, listen, own goals can happen to anyone. In all fairness to Jack, I'm not going to put that own goal on him. I will give you this stat though, courtesy of LUFC data, and it kind of summed up Jack Harrison, didn't it? Jack Harrison becomes the first Leeds player to score, register assists, and score an own goal in a single Premier League match. That is just so Jack Harrison. It is just so Jack Harrison. Um, Oh yeah, this is another one because I got a comment like this yesterday, and Bubba's brought it up again. I need people in the chat to give me their opinions on this one. Bubba is saying, how could Harrison celebrate like he's God after scoring an own goal and it was his second real goal in 26 matches? The audacity, Nanto impronto. And I had this comment on the video the other day, and I put a long reply to it because I didn't really get annoyed with Jack Harrison's the arms out celebration. And you know why? Because simply put, everybody does it. Like everybody, when you watch lower league highlights, there's players in League Two that do it, and sometimes they haven't scored in like 15 games, and they'll give it the arms out celebration. I think it's just like I think it's one of those where the celebration has been watered down so much that it didn't really register to me that he did the whole arms out thing. But what I remember as ones that got on my nerves, so I do understand where the guy was coming from and where Bob was coming from, is the two that stick out to me is Russ McCormack when we went on a barren run of not having a shot on target in like 5 games back when we were in the championship. So yes, I was still watching there, Michael Brown. And your namesake was in the team, by the way. But yeah, we went on a run where we had 5 games, like maybe 3 to 5 games with no shots on target. Russ McCormack scores, and instead of it being relief, instead of it being, we've got a goal, he's cupping his ears to the crowd. It's like, why? Like, you guys have really been bad, and you want to cup your ears because you're getting stick because you can't get a shot on target. It's like it didn't make sense to me. And the second one, of course, was Patrick Bamford. Um, Patrick Bamford is what was it against Millwall? I think it was, where he's obviously getting stick online. People are calling for Nketiah to start ahead of him because Bamford's missing loads and loads of chances. And again, remember how we used to create chances in the championship under Bielsa. We get like 10 chances a game. Like no word of a lie. It's probably hard for people to remember now, but we was free flowing in the champ, and he'd miss loads. We get a really important goal. I think it was against Millwall. Was it Middlesbrough? Okay, Middlesbrough or Millwall, okay? But we get a really important goal. It should be relief, it should be euphoria, and he's there covering his ears. Like these things are pre-planned. So those are ones that kind of stick out to me where I go, ugh, these guys, man. So I didn't really get it with Jack Harrison, but I do understand it with the whole arms out thing. But it's just that any riffraff does that celebration now. Uh, Nige D saying here, I don't care who scores, just or how to celebrate, just score. Great point, Nige. I take any goals right now, honestly. Um, Lee Christ, I mean, that's a great question. When was the last time we won more than 3 games in a row? Damn, I don't know. I don't know, mate. It's one of those now. I mean, I appreciated a comment yesterday from Mad Mick who said, I appreciate your efforts in coming on in when we're in times like this, because it is not only are you a fan, but you've got to then come on here as a broadcaster or YouTube or whatever you want to call me, and then go through it again and try and see where we're going to get points from, talk about the game. And it's so draining at times, honestly. It's and as part of the reason why I didn't come on yesterday, I was a bit tired myself. But it's like let me just leave it another day, you know what I mean? Let me just give it another day. Ben, I'll call you King KG. But yeah, but listen, let's get into the bulk of the show, man. We're 30 minutes in, but this is the beauty of it, man. We're just riffing here. We're just riffing. But Nanto, we gotta talk about Nanto here. Um, Listen, I'm not gonna go back on it. No hindsight. I did believe in Gracia dropping him to the bench against Chelsea because I did think Nanto needed a game out. I think he needed a little bit of a break, but we're literally playing once a week and he's our best player. So when I'm seeing him on the bench for a second game in a row against Brighton at home, nah, it didn't make me feel good. Gotta say, I didn't like it because we can talk about everything. We talk about Nanto then being lasered on now. He's doubled up, tripled up at times. But I would liken it to being, and I'm not saying they're on the same level, so let me just get that out of the way. It would be like Arsenal dropping Saka because he keeps on getting fouled or because he gets doubled up on. They're not doing that. They keep on rolling him out because he's a dangerous player. And where we are in the table, we need our most potent, dangerous players. And listen, we've only got a couple goals, and this is something that we'll talk under Javi Gracia in a bit, but we're not scoring a lot of goals, people. And he is our main threat, whether he's scoring or assisting. We need to make sure that we've got our best 3 forwards or 4 forwards, whatever it is, on the pitch. And at the moment, I don't think we're doing that under Javi Gracia. There's things I like about Javi, especially in the way that we're playing that we need at this time. But we need to be putting the best players out from the start. If you look at when he made those changes and all our main players came on, like the Rodrigo and McKennies, we were much better. So start stronger than start weak, and then hopefully you stay in the game and then can nick a point or nick 3 points. So I don't get it. For me, Nanto has to start against Wolves. Absolutely has to start against Wolves. And any time he's fully fit. Listen, we Javi Gracia doesn't give us a lot of information, and I'm with that. So what I have to assume is anytime anybody's on the bench that they're ready to go. Obviously bear in mind, you know, Sinistera, Rodrigo coming back from injuries, then maybe they're not fully ready to go. You have to obviously take that into context. But obviously, anyone who's on the bench is ready to go. And for me, Nonto has got to start. Give me your thoughts on him, please. Deshaun saying can't afford him to be on the bench, especially considering Rodrigo hasn't been starting. 100, 100. Mick Brown saying Rafs took three of the four opposition out of position. So does Nanto. Exactly. And that's the thing as well. It's that thing as well. If he's being doubled up on, and as Mick says here, tripled up on, that means other players should be free. The problem is though, is that the players that have been free haven't been potent, whether that's been Somerville, whether it's been Bamford, whether it's been Aronson, Harrison. They're not doing the business. So it's easy to go and double up on Nanto. Now with Sinistera back, now with Rodrigo coming back, it will give us more options. And if they decide to double up on Nanto, cool, because that means Rodrigo is going to be free. That means Sinistera is going to be free. And these are two guys that aren't shy of pulling the trigger, and that's what we need. You saw it on the weekend with Bamford with his shot. Big deflection. You know what? That's another thing that's funny. Some people trying to tell me there was no deflection on that. I can't believe it. But anyway, big deflection. He took a pot shot. It goes in. That's what we need, and that's not what we're really getting from the others. Somerville's more of a creator. He's going to be looking to thread the ball through as he does. Rutter as well. He's more of a creator, unless he's taking like a long shot. We need those guys to be potent, and Nanto is the only one that gives us that. Uh, Gavin saying Gracia's done okay, in my opinion, but we must beat Wolves on Saturday. Somerville not good enough to start. Yeah, listen, Somerville isn't do what he needs to do, and at this point now, Somerville's contribution in terms of his defensive work is being pulled into question, and that's fair. One thing I will say though is don't equate his lack of defensive work into an attitude problem. I've been seeing that a couple times, and I don't like seeing that because it's got nothing to do with one or the other. He's not the first, and he's not the last winger who was defensively shy. You know what I mean? He's not the first, and he won't be the last. But yeah, when the goals dry up, you start to look at other things in the game. And much like Trent Alexander for Liverpool, one of the best going forward. But once the assists dry up, once the free kicks stop going in, everyone starts looking at Trent's defensive work. It's a funny old game, football. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm with you. Somerville isn't doing enough to start, but this is where Javi Gracia has to come in now and say, "All right, you guys aren't doing what I need you to do. We've got more options. Let's mix it up. Let's go with two up front, people. Let's go with two up front in the game. Why not? It's not gonna be any worse. It won't hurt us dropping Aronson. It won't hurt us dropping Aronson or Somerville at this point. Let's mix it up. We've got to find new formulas that allow us to score goals and keep our defensive shape too. I mean, what's everyone saying? Let us know. Let us know. DLR Fabrications is saying problem I have with is Aronson and Somerville too easy to push to the ground, and it's showing their targets for easy fouls. Yeah, well, listen, in Somerville's case though, he does actually win free kicks. Out of the two that you've mentioned there, he actually does gain free kicks because his fouls are a little bit more obvious, whereas Brendan kind of runs into people and hopes that the referee's going to give him something. And you would have thought he'd have learned by now he's not going to get these free kicks, but he still try. He still tries, doesn't he? But I hear what you're saying in terms of those guys. In terms of easy to push around, it is true. But Somerville does get ahead a bit more, and he does get to thread a ball through a bit more. But at this point in time, our potency in front of goal isn't allowing him to get the assist at this point. So it is what it is. Nige here saying interesting. Gracia stated Rutter is not a nine, wrong by in January for what we needed. Yeah, listen, we've been through this so many times, Nige, and it's true. I've said it. I've said it before, and I even said it on his signing video. He's not a striker. His output tells you he's not an out and out forward, but he'll be a forward that will be fluid in the front three. But obviously, Rodrigo's injury happened, and it's pushed him into the starting 11 probably sooner than they would have liked. But absolutely, it wasn't the right buy for January. Of course, it wasn't. In terms of someone with potential, with a big future, yes, absolutely, it's a good buy. But in terms of what we needed now, maybe not. But it's what we've got right now, people. So we have to just move past it for now. Come back to it at the end of the season and talk about it then. But for now, he's an option up front that we need to try and use. He's somebody that we have to try and use at this point. But I hear what everyone's saying. Deshaun saying Somerville isn't as bad defensively as people are making him out. He tracked back and got stuck in a couple times in the last game. Yeah, he does. He does, Deshaun, and he did it against Chelsea too, Deshaun, where he was one that was coming back to help. But what it is at the moment, it's this. I don't want to sound like that guy, but it's modern football, man. It's no one wants to take responsibility for their own position, and you never would have heard Gary Kelly complaining to whoever's on the right, Boy or whatever, to come back and help him. You wouldn't have heard Nesta Cannavaro saying we need our defensive midfielders to help out. It's all people all just pass on their jobs to other people. And because Luke Ayling was getting ripped so much against Matoma, it required doubling up. And I agree in some areas, but also you could just be defensively stronger if possible. You know what I mean? But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Deshaun. He isn't as bad as some people make it out like he never tracks back. That's just not true. But yeah, maybe not as much as people would like. Let's just say that. Mick here saying learning curve will get better. Yeah, he's a young guy, and that's another thing as well. He's still developing, and not every young player develops at the same rate. You know what I mean? If that was the case, then we'd just be a world of robots, wouldn't we? Where if you're 20, you've got to be at this point now. If you're 21, you must be at this next point. It doesn't work like that. Everyone learns at different rates. Uh, what's Mr. P saying? Mr. P in the house. Let's have a look. Mr. P saying players like Nonto, Rodrigo, Cini, and Somerville need to be on the pitch at the same time. They all give defenders something to think about. Hey, Mr. P, that's not wrong. That's not wrong. I mean, that's a lot of attacking talent that you've got, but it's not hard to who to drop out, is it? Even though they scored on the weekend, and let me give Bamford and Harrison their credit. They scored on the weekend and they did some okay things. But my thing is, where people message me and say, "Oh, what you got to say about Bamford now?" is let's not wait another 5, 10 games for them to show up again. It's as simple as that. Let me see you send a message next week because they've done something next week. I welcome it. You know what I mean? It's one of those where when these players do something, their supporters, because I think there's more player FC than there is Leeds United FC. I've just got to assume that when people ride so hard for these players, they get their messages out. Oh, what have people got to say about Bamford now? Or what have people got to say about Harrison today? Okay, but that's cool. But can they please come and do that against Wolves? Please let them come back with another goal and assist next week. This week, I should say. But yeah, um, yeah. Listen, Karen saying Bamford showed up for once last week for the first time in ages. Yeah, since Man United away. Man United away, he was brilliant. That is the kind of Bamford I like to see. That's the one that I expect to see. The guy that can make it stick, the guy that can make it hold up, the guy that was making a nuisance of himself. But let's be honest, for the rest of the games, apart from Accrington, he's been forgettable. He's been absolutely forgettable, and that's what I'm saying. It's no good him turning up for one game. We need to see him again against Wolves because no doubt about it, these guys are going to start again. Harrison and Bamford. It's a shame, and this is what we're going to need to talk about Javi Gracia too. Um, yeah, I mean, listen. Let me just get Mick saying Bamford's interplay good, not sure about other attributes. But even that, Mick, and I'm a big proponent of Bamford being someone that is good with the hold up play. It hasn't been sticking the past few weeks. You've seen that ball balloon off his foot like he was Luciano Becchio. Like that first touch has been poor. It's been really, really poor in the last few weeks. So, but we can't have hit and miss. People are talking about the inconsistency of not needing a rutter. Well, we need our senior player there, our senior striker, the one that we've relied on for 3 years, come rain or shine, come injury, come sitting out of games. We need him to turn up more times than not, especially in the position we're in. Yeah, Rob must turn up for every game in the Prem. Yeah, exactly. Gavin here saying Gracia still getting to know his player takes time. Yeah, the one thing I'll say is interesting about Gracia, and let's talk about Javi Gracia now, as Gavin has segued us into this, is that he hasn't really given us a lot, but he said a lot about Jack Harrison in that he's an important player and he relies on him, something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Um, but I think he's doing okay. What I will say though is that he's had 4 games if we include the FA Cup, and we've scored just 3 goals in the 4, and obviously 2 of them came against Brighton. So we are shutting the shop down in certain areas, but we're also not getting goal returns, and that's where Javi Gracia now has to use the fit players that are coming back, Sinister, Rodrigo, get them back in the team. That's what I would do anyway. I'm not interested in hearing about Harrison, Aronson at this point in time, and Bamford. They did what they needed to do last week, cool, but it's the first time in ages. Let's see what these guys can give us on the weekend against Wolves. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how we line up. But what are you guys' thoughts on Javi Gracia so far? Do you like his approach? Do you like what he's done with the lineups? Let me know now. Let's talk about it. Deshaun saying if he keeps on relying on him, he'll end up jobless. It Listen, if another manager comes in and starts Harrison and Bamford, I'll just admit to not really having much ball knowledge because obviously I can't see what everyone else is seeing. You know what I do? Glenn here saying, KG, what do you think about Gracia changing tactics for each match? Makes us unpredictable. I like it. Yeah, exactly, Glenn. That's another thing that he's done. And during games as well, Glenn. That's a big thing. He makes in-game changes where we haven't really had that with our previous coach, unfortunately. He likes to change things up and he does it to suit the opposition. You'd hope that's what he's doing anyway, especially in games. And his approach as well. Jimmy, that I mean, yeah, good approach. Questionable lineups. That's probably great summed up. Let's go home, people. That's perfect. Because even with we touched on it on the match reaction, the home crowd getting restless when Brighton were knocking it around and we weren't pressing them aimlessly like headless chickens. That is good from Javi Gracia. Anybody who's watched Brighton this season knows that they want to hit you on the break. They wait for that gap to exploit the space and they punish you, and they punish you very well. We were doing the right thing. Brighton, I remember the sequence, what the guy was talking about as well. We were passing it around they were passing it around at the back. It wasn't going anywhere further, but because we didn't have people just aimlessly running for it, the crowd started to get restless because it's not what they're used to seeing over the past 3 years, over the past 3-4 years. You have to be patient in these games. And I like his approach much better than going all out attack at this time because we're in a grind right now, people. So we need to grind out wins. That's the way it is. We're not going to be free flowing football the way out of it. You've seen it. When it comes up to the final pass, when it comes up to the final shot, it doesn't always go our way. So we need to be as compact, as resolute as possible and avoid the aimless press. What do people think about that, by the way, people? Frank saying the boom was frustrating. Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? Credit to Javi as well. More credit to Javi is that he didn't buckle. Like some coaches would have done before. He didn't buckle. He didn't go, you know what, they're not happy. Let's change the approach. Now he stuck to his guns, and I've got to respect that. John F saying his tactics were decent to start, but we lost our shape because with the wrong formation. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the wrong formation and wrong personnel for me. I just don't see how McKennie comes out this team. I understand bringing Rocker back 100%, but then I'm taking Aronson out. I'm not. If you're going to have somebody further up on that tip of that triangle, it's got to be McKennie for me. I know that some of his passing has been questionable, but he's a much better player in that position, and we still haven't really seen those three work together yet. There's just some things that are just ah, the starting lineups, seeing some of the names that we're seeing, you can't keep relying on these guys. Seriously, you can't keep relying on them. Jacob saying, I'm just glad we have a manager that can plan specific game plans for different teams now. 100%. 100%. And somebody asked earlier about Ailing, and we're not doing the Wolves preview today. We'll do that on Thursday, I think it is, if our game's Saturday. Um, but I would probably stick with Aylan against Wolves simply because they don't have a Matoma. They don't have a Sancho, somebody who is just going to embarrass him, which we've seen so many times. I think it's okay to put Luke Ayling in against Wolves, but it's when teams have got that 1v1 specialist that it's a long day for Luke Ayling, I'm afraid. And listen, shout out to the Leeds United social media team. They showed his nutmeg against Matoma. I mean, get a win how you want, I guess. But it's different for different games, isn't it? But I would probably go with, because Wolves are not a potent team. They're not an exciting team. And whether they got Neto back or what for that game, I still think Luke Ayling can probably go up against Pedro Neto in his current state. So yeah, I'd stick with Ayling at this point in time. Karen saying our passing needs to be better, loads needs to be loads better than, and that needs addressing. Yeah, 100%. It definitely does. Mr. P saying, smash like people. Yeah, listen, people, there's over 200 of you here. Thank you for joining me. Please hit a like on the video. It's the best way to support the channel, and it's free. Jimmy saying, hopefully he picks his moments and attacks when the opposition is vulnerable. Who's he? Pronouns, pal. Is that Gracia or Ailing? Let me know. Let me know. Gavin here with the old price comparison. Matoma 2 million. It wasn't 2 million, but yeah, it was. I think it was 4 or 5 million, and wrote a 35. Embarrassing for Auto. Yeah, I mean, at the same time, Auto. Hey, listen, we know he'd come back to you, Gavin. You know he would. He'd say, "Well, how much did I pay for Gnonto? How much did I pay for Gelhart? How much was Strauk? How much was Melier?" I think he'd come back with those kind of examples too. But yeah, and that's another thing as well, people, as well. With the 35 million, it's true. It was a lot of money for him, but we knew he was paying for potential. But it's not just Auto that has to sign off on it. He's the director of football. It obviously went up the chain. It went up to Radrazani. It went to the 49ers, who, if we heard, are the ones that are going to be financing this deal in the future. It was signed off by a lot of people here. So Orta can only give his suggestions. As we know previously, he's given suggestions and they get rejected. You know what I mean? So it's a collective effort here. So yes, it is Orta that has scouted this guy and has put him forward, but he's not the one that has signed the checks. He's not the one that signed the checks, but it's a collective one. Athena saying, KJ, I'm so ready for a win. Athena, I've been ready. The Southampton one it feels like a lifetime ago now. But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's hard doing this stuff when the team is so bad. Like it is so poor. It's so poor. I would love to be on here with full chest talking about how great we're going to be. Talking today's show being about how do we get into the Europa League places? How do we do this? Instead, we have to talk about relegation stuff again. Just not fun, is it? And when you see other platforms now talk about Leeds United in the relegation zone, are we one of the three to go down? Some people think we are, some people think we're not. It actually sucks to be in these kind of conversations, but that's where we are. That's where we are. Mr. P saying, I think Auto will be released once the 49ers take full control. I see that happening too, Mr. P. Definitely see that happen. But listen, that's a summertime thing, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. John Shaw's here saying we're going to beat Wolves. I hope so, but we'll talk about Wolves in general in the match preview. But yeah, Gracia, just with as well with like the Harrison and Bamford thing, and hopefully now we're seeing our players come back, they will be starting. But I just don't want him to fall in the trap that Marsh did. Bielsa obviously had his favorites, and that's fine. But I don't want him to fall in that trap of picking the most tenured players over the most talented, because at the moment that's what's happening in terms of McKennie benched, Gnonto benched. That should just not be happening in our current state. So please, Javi, please don't fall into that trap. It's easy to fall into at this club for some reason. Please don't do that. That's what I would say. We will stay up. Yeah, hope so, man. I hope so. Richard saying here, KJ, the predicted 36 points will keep us up this season. Richard, 36 points sounds very, very, it sounds far away. It sounds so far. It felt like it took forever for us to hit 20, didn't it? I felt like it took forever for us to hit 20 points. So 36 seems like a pipe dream away, doesn't it? But I don't know how many it's going to take. It's going to take whatever it needs to take, but let's start getting some wins on the board. Please, for the love of everything, please, can we just win? Please. Karen here say managers should not favorite players. It happens though, Karen. It happens in any walk of life. It happens in any job. You always have workers or people that you feel you can trust more. sometimes it's not as obvious to people that are just inside the thing, to people outside that can see it. They get too drawn in and they do have their favorites. That happens in any walk of life, though, doesn't it? It's unfortunate, but it managers always have the people that they trust the most. Glenn saying KG wants experience on the pitch. He said we're very young. He needs battlers with class around them. Well, who's the class? Who's the class, Glenn? But what I will say is that I've always said it. It doesn't matter about their age. It's if they're ready. And if you're talking about battlers, I mean, hardly anyone battles more than Nanto. In fact, he probably battles too much. Sometimes he gets involved in nearly everything. But for me, it's not about your age, because we're talking about Jack Harrison at 26. You're talking about Bamford, who's 29. I mean, what are they giving us more than what Nanto has or Rodrigo has? You know, it's about putting out your best team. Please start with the best team possible. That's what it would be for me. John here saying, I've been impressed by the manager. I hope he's here next year. That's it. At this current time, listen, we're not holding anybody to any answers here. This is the current time after 4 games, 3 goals in 4 games, a couple of, defeats here and there. But I think he's doing okay at this point in time with what he's got. Do people hope that Javi is here next season? I'm going to say this at this point. I'm glad that it's a flexible contract, and I'm glad that they can revisit in the summer, because at this point in time, the way I feel currently, I'll just say how I see it. I feel good about him keeping us up, but I'm not sure if he's here for the long term project, and I think it kind of shows why his CV is so long in terms of jobs. But maybe I want the long term project to be the coaches we were linked with before Gracia was involved. And I think that probably would be the better way, especially if we stay in the Prem. If we go down, maybe he stays on. Let me know. What do you think? What do you currently feel? Let me know. Let me know. C Stone saying though it's too early to know. Fair, fair. I mean, it's been 4 games. I kind of got no feeling at all. C Stone, nothing. Let me know. Leeds 1-2 saying wait till the end of the season and decide. Lee Christo is saying nah, his tactics won't be good for the championship. Okay. Okay. Ben here saying he got Malaga to 8th and 10th place in an unfair sacking at Watford. Okay. The Bullet is saying, I think we need to see what he can do with a fully healthy squad. See how it is with Cine and Rodrigo starting. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, Bullet. I mean, like I say, one thing for me, what I said after the game against Brighton is I need to see how he lines up against Wolves. That's going to be very, very important for me, especially with Sinister and Rodrigo coming back. We need to see a much stronger lineup than what we saw against Brighton. David here saying if we start going on a run and turn things around, we should keep him. Okay. Um, Frank is saying tricky. It's a no from me too, but feels harsh if he kept us up. But so did Marsh. But that's the thing, Frank. It's one of these where you have to say, you know what? Thank you so much for keeping us up. But long term, I'm talking long term about where you see your club going. Do you want to see us go up to the mid-table next season, or possibly better if we get recruitment right? Sometimes it has to be one of those where you say, yeah, you done well, but it was a flexible contract. We're going to move on now. Best of luck to you. Sounds harsh, I know, sounds cutthroat, but that's what elite football's all about, people. It's not about just, oh, you did well for us, so stay on. I mean, that's what's got us into trouble the last 2 years, people. That's just my thinking anyway. I know I'm not like everybody else. I know. Karen is saying, see how things turn out at the end of the season. Cloud Dizzle saying, too early to know yet. Timing of him coming is so bad. Flexible contract is best for now. Right. Yeah. And Nige D here, yeah. I mean, that's another thing as well. Nige D saying, I'm sure the 49ers will bring in their own man. And that's what I'm saying. I think there will be a long term project involved in this one. But hopefully he does keep us up. Hopefully he's the right man. Like I say, I'm impressed with him so far. His in-game management and everything else like that. Just need to see him start the best players possible. Glenn here though saying, I think he's a winner, cagey, quiet but ruthless. Just my thoughts. Yeah, he's definitely quiet. That's been nice. I will say that. I will say that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me just say this about Harrison as well, because I didn't say it about Harrison on the weekend, but kudos to him for atoning for his error. I think that if there's one thing that we accuse Jack of is lacking confidence or being a confidence player, which he is. And it would have been easy for him to shrink after his own goal, but to come back and hit one of those that he did, full credit to him. But yeah, let's do it again against Wolves, please. John F. though saying hard to say we only beat a poor Saints side. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. I hear all that. I hear all that. So yeah, listen, people. I mean, that's pretty much what I had on my mind. Let me just see if there's anything else that I haven't touched on. If there's anything else, put it in the chat now, and we'll discuss it. After the serves, yeah, yeah. No, I've absolutely touched on everything here. So, is there anything else that anybody wants to say before we end the stream? Uh, Dave here saying, KG, we have too many confidence players, Harrison, Bamford, Aronson. Oh, that was it. I didn't listen to the Bamford thing, what he said after the game. So you guys in the chat now, tell me, was it as arrogant as somebody made it sound like it was? Did he say anything about the crowd expectations or anything like that? Because I just don't want to hear this guy talk. I've got no interest in hearing him talk. As long as he does what he has to do on the pitch, that's fine. He's just not a likable player for me. So let me know if what Bamford said ticked you off, because I did have that one down with the Harrison celebration, but I forgot about the Bamford thing too. So let me know if you know. Listen, this Tyler Roberts thing, please stop putting this. It's not happening. He's injured. So I think it's one of those where he's come back here to get rehabbed and then he'll be back at QPR. I think that's how it's going to go. Tyler Roberts will not be playing for us. And yeah, RP, yeah, please hit the like, everyone. Please. Did anyone not hear what Bamford said? Maybe it's not as bad as somebody said then. Maybe it's not as bad as some people said. But yeah, I just won't listen to him talk, so I will never know. I never know. Ben here is saying, my unpopular opinion, we always love one of those, is that Melier needs to go. Oh, okay. Yep. He's not our type of player. Way too many mistake. He's got worse. If Robles makes that mistake against Everton, he gets slated. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing on Melier for the Brighton game, if that's what you're talking about, Ben. I do think that we could do better in goal and possibly get a high fee that is way beyond what Melier's worth because of his potential. But yeah, I've got nothing against Melier in terms of what happened against Brighton. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, Ben. Blinky Fish saying, can I have a birthday shout out, please, KG? Of course you can. Happy birthday, Blinky Fish. And I hope it's a great, great day for you. Of course. Yeah, Clouders, we'll leave it at that with the Bamford thing. Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't hear what he said, probably for the best. Yeah, we'll leave it alone. Alex here saying, I don't care if the coach is obnoxious or quiet, wins cue everything. 100% Alex. Wins mean everything, man. And the fact that we have the lowest wins in the league as well, by the way, is a real tough thing to swallow for me. Real tough thing for me to swallow. I cannot believe that this Leeds United team, in comparison to some of the other teams, has the lowest wins. It's unbelievable, but it's facts. Like, you can't dispute that fact. It's just it's sickening, man. It's absolutely sickening. I wish. Listen, if I wanted to say what I wanted to say, they'd ban me for 6 months. You know, one of them. Oh, Ben here is talking about. He's just talking in general. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Absolutely, I hear you there. I hear you. Michael got here with a good old rumor. Let's go with a rumor. How about that one? Michael saying rumors Juventus want to swap McKennie for Gnonto. Okay. I didn't know he was in silly season already. I didn't know he was in silly season. Louise here. Hey KG, how you doing, mate? Have you seen this new wave of fans slating Melier and saying that he isn't good enough? Can't believe it. No, you know what it is with Melier, and I've said it before on here many times, Louise. So you've probably heard me say this before. I do think he is a good goalkeeper, but I think that he probably needs to be at another club. I don't think he can be the goalkeeper he wants to be in a team that's always fighting relegation. I don't think it's going to work out. And I think with the money that we could possibly get for him, because we're hearing all kinds of sums for Melier because of his potential. He's labeled the next this, he's the next Lloris and everything else like that. I just think that we can get a better goalkeeper for much less money, and I think that we can do that. And listen, he's not perfect, Luis. He's not, but he has saved us more times than not. But there have been times this season where you've seen it, where we've been on top in games, and then the first chance that goes down our way goes in. Some of the goals that have gone in against him as well have been very weak wristed ones as well, where he could get a little bit more on it. So I'm not saying that he's terrible, because he's certainly not terrible. But I think that there's much better goalkeepers out there for much less than what we'll probably sell him for. I think that's probably fair, isn't it? The one that always sticks in my head, I just don't know if he'd come to Leeds United, is Livakovic. I would absolutely love Livakovic at Leeds United. You know what I mean? But I don't know if we'd be in for him. I know he was linked to Leicester before. So, we're not far from where Leicester are at this point in time. But you could probably get Livakovic for, say, let's just say 10 million. And if you can sell Melier for 30 with add-ons, that's a great swap to do. Um, Dave here, in terms of Melier, saying Melier needs to improve on command in his area, coming out through players to get the ball. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Tyler saying, KG, love you, bro. Thank you. Agree, we got to get Gnonto on. Who do we remove from the lineup in place of Gnonto? I mean, there's several candidates, Tyler. I mean, you could go with Aronson. And it's not even like I'm saying Aronson's been terrible, but we need people with end product on it now, and not just the intangibles like work rate and hustling. I mean, that's all well and good, but everyone gives you work rate. We need people that can finish off. And you could go with Harrison out. Sinistera needs to come in. Bamford could come out. It's not like we have players in there that you say there's no way that this guy could come out. Gnonto is probably the one, and at the moment he's been benched 2 weeks in a row. You know what I mean? So that's where, I mean, we've got plenty of candidates who could come out for me. Nige, please don't remind me. Please. Please don't remind me. Oh. C Stone is saying rumors that we're scouting Shesko at Salzburg. He's your guy, right? He is. No way he's coming here with Man United and Spurs circling. He's not going anywhere, C Stone, except for RB Leipzig. They've already agreed to deal. That deal was done in the summer. So he's at Salzburg right now, but come July 1st, he'll be at Leipzig. So he's already got a move done. So yeah, but yeah, Cespo, he wouldn't be coming here. Absolutely not. I wish he would, but no, he's not coming here. But yeah, he's already got a move arranged for Leipzig. Um, Nick G here saying, "I love to see Rodders and Rutter up front." 100%, Nick. And again, that's on Javi Gracia now. He can do that. I think that it's obvious with Rutter, he would be good behind Rodrigo. I think that would be really good. Potent. I think that would be really good. That sounds really good, actually, Nick. Rutter behind, Rodrigo up front. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. That sounds real good. Ben, just on Melier too. Hey, Ben and Melier ain't friends, I don't think, but he gets caught out too often from long shots. It's not even the long shots that get me, Ben. It's more the ones where it's right by his body. He's got a big frame. I know he's not. I know he's very slight. He's not muscly or nothing like that. But he's got a long enough frame, and the ball sometimes just goes off his wrist and goes in, or it goes in on his near post a bit. I just feel like sometimes there's shots that he could be saving, but overall, you can't complain for where he is and how many shots he sees. You know what I mean? But I just feel that we could get a more commanding goalkeeper. That's all. That's all. And Ben, yeah, Ben just confirming he ain't coming to my house. I feel you. I feel you. Uh, Dave here saying what Rutter wide right, Gnonto behind Rodrigo, Cine wide left. Oh, that's good, Dave. That's good. Roto wide right, Gnonto behind Rodrigo, Cine wide left. I like that. I like that, Dave. That's what I'm saying. We've got so many variations, and we do need to vary it up now, because this current variation is not working. You know what I mean? So let's start something new. But Dave, I like that one a lot. I really like that one a lot. Yeah, Dave, people are loving that suggestion. I absolutely love that one. That's amazing. And you think as well, against a team like Wolves, because Wolves won't be coming out as full pelt. You could probably try this one and come away with maybe even like a 2-0 win. But we'll talk about that in the preview. We'll talk about it in the preview. But Dave, that's excellent. I love that. I love that. Wayne Bursell saying Nanto Somerville got a good connection, both on together from the start. For me, Nanto on dead balls. See, I'm with you, Wayne, and I've said this previously, Wayne, in terms of Nanto and Somerville, that connection they've got. But the facts are the facts. It hasn't been going on in the since the tournament, since the World Cup. It hasn't happened. So in that case, you do need to try different variations. And going back to Dave's, I like that one. So yeah, and I absolutely hear what you're saying. They do have a great connection on the pitch, but Somerville, the output, for all these endeavor and chances created, we're not seeing any goals at this point. So we do need to try and change it up. Um, but yeah, listen. Louise here saying really happy for Bamford. Played a great game. Great. I mean, that's a strong word, but yeah. But I'm putting Rodrigo up top against Wolves. Yeah, it's not one of those where just because you scored one week, that means you got to play the next if you've done nothing in the previous 6 games, kind of thing. It's got to be put your best foot forward. And listen, Bamford at the moment, we've already heard that Gracia has already said he's having to be managed again. So why not put Bamford on as your late sub? Let's give him a go as a late sub, but start Rodrigo. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Oh yes, you know what? Somebody on the before everyone goes, let's talk about Wöber quickly as well. Hold on a minute. Jimmy Shah here. Wöber should be taking their balls. I agree, but a couple people are pointing out about Wöber being at fault for the 2 goals against Brighton because of how free McAllister was, and who else scored? Who else scored? I've forgotten who scored, but whatever. They're saying that he's at fault. But what I will say with Wöber is, okay, that's fair. Yeah. What I will say about Wöber is that he is more assured, and he rarely makes mistakes as well, like brutal mistakes. I know he's liable for one or two, but overall, his assuredness, his calmness, his partnership with Robin Koch, I think is a plus point for us. I mean, what is everyone saying in regards to Max Verber at this point? Louise saying Verber has a great free kick at him. He does. Mick saying Verber excellent. Gavin saying Verber not being at his best the last 2 games. Okay. Somebody here saying Wolves fans feel like they're going to beat us. Yeah, but everyone does. Everyone does. Ishtar saying Verber needs to start passing to the opposition. Yeah. Just saying Max is very good. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just give you my opinion on Max. I feel much more comfortable with him at the back next to Robin Koch at this point than I do with any others. And just going by the way Robin Koch was defending with his previous partner, I think Robin Koch feels more secure with Max there. And I think that we should just keep it the way it is. There's just no room for Pascal to come back in. And being honest, and I'm a Pascal guy, as you all know, he hasn't played well enough to come back into the team. He's not replacing Junior Firpo on the left. That's just not happening. And he can't play right back. So at this point in time, Strike has to stay on the bench too. So for me, I wouldn't change the 2 at the back. I just feel like the one place that is up for grabs at the back is our right back, and I think you have to go by game spaces, on a game by game basis, I should say. Richard saying Verb, excellent signing. Dave saying Verb is the best we have. Philip is saying Max is a huge improvement on Cooper. Gavin saying current back 4 is the best we have until the summer. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that okay. Yeah, Louise here just saying love that Cock Verba partnership. We have been searching for the great partnership for a while. Lorente Cock wasn't giving me a lot of peace. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's our most stable, and it has been for a while. Whether someone's erratic, someone's good for a yellow card, or loss of concentration, whatever it is, you've seen how many individual errors have led to goals, especially this season alone. Never mind last season's kamikaze. So yeah, for me, it's just the one that gives us the most security. But let me know in the comments after as well. Let me know what you think. Alex saying Verber's weakness has been passed out from the back if we're being picky. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Still an excellent signing. Yeah, completely. That sums it up perfectly for me. Starts to sums it up perfectly. Glenn here saying, I don't know about you guys, but I hate being absolutely convinced we're down only to start believing again by midweek. Glenn, you know what that is? And it is, and I'll tell you it from a content creator's point of view. When I do the match reaction straight after the game, that's your raw emotion, that's your raw thoughts, that's how you're feeling at the time about the game, isn't it? The worst for me as a content creator is if people watch it 2 3 days later, because you then by then you've calmed down everything, you've got perspective back in your life, you can see things clearly again, you've got renewed hope, the hope's been reset. But then people will say, oh, I think you were a bit dramatic here, I don't think it was as bad as you said. But it's like you've given yourself 3 days to leave a comment, you know what I mean? So I know what you're saying, Glenn, but I'll just reiterate, I don't think we're down. I just don't believe that at this point. I still think there's just way too much football to play before I believe we're down. So yeah, but I know what you're saying there, Glenn. But yeah, Mick, I wish Strand was still at a road. Me too, but those decisions were made, Mick, and unfortunately, we can't do anything about that at this point. Tyler here saying, "Am I the only one thrilled to see Cine making his way back? He changed the tone when he was on the pitch earlier in the year." Yeah, I'm absolutely with you there, Tyler. He's an X factor. He's somebody who gives you a goal out of nothing, as we've seen. But I will also talk for the people that have said we haven't seen enough of him. He's always injury prone. I agree with that too. Reliability is your best availability is your best reliability for me, and he hasn't been available enough. He does seem to get like these like slight muscle soft tissue injuries. But hopefully from now to the end of the season, we can get him back because he's good for at least, man, he's good for a winner or two, isn't he? He's that good. But we do need to see him out on the pitch more than what we have so far, for sure. Gavin saying Cine owes us a few goals. He does. He's not the only one, though, is he? You know, we could say that about Bamford, you know, especially signing his new contract. He owes us goals. There's a lot of them that owe us a lot of stuff. And then we'll visit in the summer if they should stay. You know what I mean? But yeah, Cine is a fantastic talent, but we need to see him out on the pitch more. That's my summary of him. But yeah, listen, people, wow, we've been going nearly an hour. Unbelievable. But yeah, this has been a great chat. This has been a good chat. And it's one, even in the position we're in that we need, you just need to just see where we're going, see where we can go, and go with that. Because otherwise, if you're looking at our position just through numbers, 19th in the table, 5 wins, we'd be effing and blinding all stream long. But listen, we've had some good conversation today. Drop your thoughts on the video after. Please, hit the like button for me and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I'll see you in the next video. Barring anything major, it will be the Wolves preview, and we'll talk about that and give our score predictions then. Have a good day, night, wherever you're watching, people. Peace out.